Okay, good evening. This is the News Charter School Board of Directors meeting on January 23rd, 2024. We do have a quorum this evening, so I'm going to call the meeting to order by roll call first. Nicole Booker.
Here.
Jane Jackson.
Here.
Jason Gipe.
Sorry, here.
I know Lindsay could not be with us this evening. Benji Woodard.
Here.
Jeremy Pierce.
Here.
Paul Worley.
Here.
And I am here as well. We do have a quorum. I will read our ethics statement. Conflict of interest reminder per NCGS 138A-15E. Board members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of the board. Does any member of the board know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict of interest with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. Hearing none, if during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair of the meeting. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. We have our August and September 2023 meeting minutes for approval. Those are found in our board meeting folder. We can either read them out loud, or if everyone has read them, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion.
A second.
Is that Jeremy? And then we got a second. We have a motion and a second to approve the August and September 2023 minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote on the approval of the minutes. Nicole Booker.
Aye.
Jane.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Benji.
Aye.
Jeremy.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is public comment. We do not have any public comment. Dr. Blackwell, do we have any guest discourse?
We have a few guests with us this evening. I'm going to start with welcoming the Booster Club president, Mr. Curtis Foy, and the treasurer, Miss Cindy Register. They are here to present some information to you all. So I will let them take it from here.
Go ahead, Cindy.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for letting us be here tonight. We just kind of want to share a little bit about what the News Charter School Athletic Booster Club does. It's been a while since we've been to a board meeting, but we're happy to come anytime you guys would like for us to be here. Just let us know and we'll give you an update on what we've got going on. As Dr. Blackwell mentioned, I'm the current treasurer for the Booster Club, and Curtis is our current president. The main reason we're here tonight is we are here to present the school with our annual give back donation from the 22-23 school year. As you may or may not know, we are an independent nonprofit organization that raises money solely for the purpose of the athletic needs of News Charter School. We purchase items that are needed for various athletic teams, for the athletic department, and we support our coaches and our athletes most of all. As part of our agreement with the school, we aim to provide a donation to News Charter School of 80% of our profits each school year to be used for large sports projects. Examples would be a sports complex, a soccer field, or any other large item that would be aimed for the athletic department. We are presenting, and I'll actually drop it off tomorrow, Dr. Blackwell, our check tonight in the amount of $5,600 $28.70. And that donation, just to kind of give you an idea, is an addition to the donations that we actually made during the last school year. Just to kind of hit some of the highlights, we purchased baseballs for a little over $200. We purchased mops and brooms for the gym. That's a fun thing. They all love that. But just we saw that need, and that's what we're here for, is to get to reach out and support things like that. We donated almost $3,000 worth of gifts to our volunteer coaches. So that would be the coaches that are not on staff at the school. Our biggest investment into the sports, our athletic department last year was the annual sports banquet. We spent about $5,300 to make that happen, and to honor and to just give some time to our athletes, our coaches, and our athletic directors. That's a total of $8,566.14. And when added to this check that we're donating back to the school, it's a little over $14,000 that we were able to give back to the athletics of the school last year. We're very proud of these numbers, considering that last year was a very slow number year. I think that's partly because of coming out of quarantine, everybody getting back into the swing of things. This year is proving to be a much more successful fundraising year for us, and we're really excited about that. So far this school year, we've hosted the Fall Festival, the Booster Bazaar, which was held in December, and then we've been operating our concession stand in the gym. Um, we also normally host a spring fling, but this year we are not going to be doing a spring fling. The past few years, we've seen those numbers, just continue to drop down, and participation was not very good. So we are looking for another fundraiser to replace that. We also have one more fundraiser definitely planned for this year at Easter. Easter time, we will be doing another Boston butt sale. That proved very successful last year. It's very easy just to drive up to the gym door and let us hand you a Boston butt. And that money goes all of the profit is just pure profit right back into the booster club. We're looking forward to helping with the annual sports banquet again this year. And then just kind of some highlights. Our membership this year has jumped tremendously. I think that's due in large part to a lot more publicity, communication efforts, and just the awesome board and chairs that we have this year on the Booster Club. We do struggle for our concession stand volunteers. Dr. Blackwell has learned how to cook hot dogs and make nachos and all sorts of things this year. We're very grateful for that. Um, we really have been very dependent in our concession stand this year on our students. They have stepped up and are, enjoying, even I think, working in the concession stand. We give them a snack and free admission to the game for doing that, and they get volunteer hours. They learn a lot. I've told all of them that pass the test, I'll give them a job at a restaurant right down the road. Um, anyway, but I think it's been enjoyable for everybody. We've also had, as I mentioned, Dr. Blackwell, some of our administration and our teachers have volunteered in there this year. May have been the first time we've seen Mr. King in the concession stand this year. So some of our goals this year are we've really worked to grow our membership. And we are exploring and doing some research, consulting with our CPA on a potentially really big fundraiser that we hope that we can make happen next year. So we'll continue to keep everybody updated on that. We really do consider ourselves very fortunate to work with the two amazing athletic directors that we have, the great administrative team, and the absolute best volunteers that we could possibly ask for. More importantly, we love supporting and getting to know the student athletes and watching them grow. From me and my kids' age, I'm getting to see the ones graduating this year that I saw start back in sixth grade playing these sports. So it's awesome to see that. I think also there's that certain amount of Cougar pride when you look over at the bench and you see coaches that you saw playing those sports a few years ago. And that's exactly what we want to see. We're here to support that program, to grow those leaders that are going to make a difference, not only in our school and our community, but really in the world. And so we're very happy to be a part of that. We invite you, as well as all the families in the school, to join our monthly meetings. Come cheer on the teams, volunteer for one of our events or the concession stand, of course. We'll be glad to put you in there. If you're interested in becoming a Booster Club member, we welcome that. We also have corporate memberships that are available. And really, we just appreciate the time that you guys have given us and the opportunity to be able to give back to the school to make a difference in all these student athletes' lives. Any questions? Curtis, anything you want to add? Sorry for
No,
my low voice tonight.
that's all right. You're coming out of a not so feeling good situation.
Yeah, another
That
thanks
is
to the school.
all. You hit on everything as far as for the year and for last year. So I think we're headed in the right direction overall. Does any of the board members or anybody else have any questions?
Just, Cindy, just for the minutes, I want to make sure I get those numbers correct. It's
Okay.
for the check, it's $5,628.70.
Uh-huh.
What was the fund,
The
sports
total
banquet, or the sports banquet
for the sports
number?
banquet, it was 5,248.19. And I'll be happy to drop a copy of this off with the check. And if I need to email it to you, Nicole, I'll be happy to do that too. Just let me know. So you'll have the details.
I think that's sufficient. Thank you.
Okay.
Cindy
Anything
and Chris,
else?
thank you so much for being here tonight and for that update. I really appreciate that. And thank you for all you do with the Booster Club. And I just want to say, last year I had the chance to work in the concession stand, and it is really a lot of fun. So, and if you get any of you get a chance to volunteer to do that, take the opportunity to do it. It is a lot of fun, and you get to meet a lot of the students and the athletes while you're doing it. So
Yeah.
you'll have a good time while you're doing it. And I also want to say too how much appreciate the athletic banquet last year too. That was really nice and enjoyable.
Good. That's the goal.
Yeah, recognize all the student athletes and get them all together in one room.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yep.
Thank
I
you
wanna-
so much.
I just want to say really quickly that I would be remiss not to recognize Kaylee Foy, because without her,
Absolutely.
the concession stand would probably not be open.
Yep.
She is just amazing.
She
And
is.
every time I have worked in there with her, she has been so kind and patient. And, it just kind of organically happened that I was in there with her. And then it's actually quite enjoyable. So just so you know, I loved it. And then, I also would like to shout out to Mr. Geip, who saw me working in there and then made me take a break to my place. So he could probably also speak to all the faces that you see and getting to know everybody. So concessions is where it's at, y'all. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, Kaylee's nickname is the Popcorn Princess. And she is on it. She can make popcorn in her sleep.
Yes, she is. Yeah, I just let her do it. It's just hand me the
Yes.
bags, I'll hand them out. But yeah, you're right. She's amazing at that.
She's awesome. We are very grateful for her, especially her. But there's been several other students that I've been very dedicated to. And it's fun to get to know the students and the athletes, and I can tell you which ones need pickle juice before the game, which ones need pickle juice at halftime to keep them off the floor and things like that. You learn things that you never thought you would know, and it's things that they remember for years and years to come.
And not to boast on my daughter, but she is one of the first students to actually be on the chair of the one of the chairs for the new Starter Booster Club.
Yep.
And was voted in the fall.
Yep. So we do not discriminate. We will take anybody that wants to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure, anytime.
Okay, Dr. Blackwell, and I believe there was someone else after.
Oh, yes. So now we're going to move into the audit presentation with Jay Sharp. He is here tonight to share with you the fiscal year 2023 audit. So Jay, take it away.
All right. Thanks for having me on tonight. My name is Jay Sharp. I'm the audit partner in charge of the school's audit for the year ended June 30th, 2023. So I got a short presentation to go through, and then I'll be glad to answer any questions or comments you have. So I will try to share my screen and start that. All right. So the status of the audit, field work was completed back in the fall. The financial statements have been prepared, and the audit has been approved and issued for 2023. We are currently working on a 990 tax return. This tax return is an informational tax return. The school does not pay taxes, but all not-for-profits are required to file the 990 with the Internal Revenue Service on an annual basis. The numbers do come from the audit, but there's some additional information that goes along with that tax return, but that's in process right now. A little background on us as auditors. Always like to kind of discuss this. So there's really three phases of an audit. The first phase is the planning phase, where we get an update of our understanding of internal controls in place. We may test some of those controls. And so this year we tested controls over cash disbursements and over payroll. And we do all this because we continue to use what we call a risk-based audit approach. What we're doing here is assessing risk to all the significant financial reporting areas the school has, whether it's like cash, revenues, expenses. And the planning procedures kind of gives us a roadmap to go into phase two. And phase two is where we do all the testing, or what we call number crunching. We're going through all the numbers to make sure that they're materially correct. And that's the longest phase of the audit. Once we're complete with that, we kind of wrap things up. And, what we have to do here is obtain what we consider to be sufficient audit evidence to render our opinion on the financial statements. That's why you hire us, is to give an opinion. And the opinion concentrates on whether the financial statements are free from material misstatement. So that's the final phase, kind of wrap up financial statement preparation and doing that opinion. So kind of the three phases of the audit and kind of the roles and objectives we have as auditors. So getting to the results of the 2023 audit, scope and timing of the audit, we're on track. The audit report I was just talking about, the opinion, the school once again received what we call an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That is the best possible opinion you can receive. That's basically a clean opinion on the financial statements. That is the opinion that the school should strive for year in and year out. So good news there. Now, during our audit procedures, especially with the internal controls, and with, this is really a two-part audit. It's the financial part. And because of the state appropriations, there is something called a state single audit we have to perform on an annual basis. And that's kind of a compliance audit. And during those phases, if we see any issues, we're required to report that to you and report that on the audit report. I'm happy to report there were no findings for 2023. No material weaknesses or significant deficiencies noted during audit procedures. That's great news. And this in regards to both financial reporting and for compliance. So a clean audit report, no findings for 2023. The other thing I always like to bring up is audit adjustments. So during audit procedures, if we know there's material numbers are incorrect, we'll propose what we call an audit adjustment to correct those. I always like to bring this up because for 2023, there were no audit adjustments. And that's obviously key for the board because you're making critical decisions throughout the year based on the numbers you're receiving during your board meetings. So you can become comfortable with those numbers knowing there was no audit adjustments during 2023. So kind of to summarize, clean audit opinion, no findings, and no audit adjustments for 2023. Now, in addition to the audit, we have a separate letter that's issued. This is a communications letter. We're required to issue this every year, and it has four main talking points with it. First of all, any major accounting policy changes, they affect the notes to the financial statements. There were none for 2023. One of the areas we pay close attention to during the audit are estimates. Some numbers are hard and fast numbers, and some numbers are developed based on estimates. The school's major estimate has to do with the depreciable lives of its capital assets. Those estimates appeared reasonable, no issues there. I'm happy to report there was no disagreements with management and no difficulties encountered with the audit for 2023. So all good news there also for the school. So the final phase of the presentation is going through the numbers for 2023. I think you'll be happy with these numbers. So financial highlights, total support and revenue for the year, just above $8.9 million. Total operating expenses, just above $8 million. So the school saw a profit of about $861,000 for 2023. So good news there for the school. Now, if we break these revenues and expenses into a little bit more detail, here I show the 5 top revenue line items and the 5 top expense line items the school has. Once again, the state of North Carolina appropriations is your top revenue, just above $6.4 million. The funds you receive from the local boards of education, the main being Johnson County, but some other counties in there also, just below $1.7 million. Your federal funding was about $550,000. Other just miscellaneous fees, charges, things like that were about $180,000. And then contributions and donations were about $43,000. Those 5 top revenue line items made up essentially 99, almost 100% of your revenues. Now, expense-wise, salaries and wages remain your top expenditure, $4.1 million. Employee benefits, this is retirement, health insurance, things like that, $1.7 million. Your debt service, $827,000. Contracted student services, $557,000, and administrative services, $150,000. Now, I want to go back to debt service because there was a change in the accounting standards last year. And if anybody was on the presentation last year, you probably heard this. Anybody knew there was a new way that schools had to account for leases. In the prior year, you just used it as rent expense. But the new standard stated you had to show debt. You had to kind of treat it as debt, and then as you made your lease payments, you'd reduce that debt. So that's what that debt service is really paying the lease that you have with the facilities organization. But those top 5 expense line items make up 91% of your total expenditures for the year. Now, the next thing I want to bring up, and this is not actually part of the financial statements, but always something I want to show because cash flow is obviously very important to most organizations, especially not-for-profits and schools. And so there's really 3 buckets from where cash goes and comes from: operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. And so for the year, the school had an increase in cash of about almost $850,000 compared to 2022. And the top line item is the most important one, in my opinion. Are you able to generate positive cash flow from your mission, your operations, operating a school? And the answer for 2023 was an astounding yes, over $1.4 million from operating activities. You had negative cash flows from $56,000 of investing activities. That was purchasing capital assets, so investing cash back into the school. And then cash flow from financing activities was paying off those leases, and that's negative $550,000. But once again, an increase in cash of almost $850,000 for the year. So an outstanding number there for the school. So a little bit of trend analysis for the school, kind of showing where you've come from. Revenues and expenses for the last 5 years. Red represents revenues, blue represents expenses. And you can see the trend line. You know, back in 2019, your total revenues were just about over $7.9 million. 2023, $8.9 million. So your revenues have grown about $1 million since that time frame. Your expenses are also going up. But as you can see, each of the last 5 years, you've shown a profit. And while your revenues and expenses have gone up, you still maintain the profit. The last 2 years have been in considerably higher profit than back in 2019, 20, and 21. This shows that the school is financially healthy and a really good trend line to have for the school. Next, we want to talk about fund balance. So fund balance is really the school's net worth. This is the amount that your assets outnumber your liabilities. Now, if you look back in 2015, you actually had a negative fund balance. The school was struggling financially. negative $42,000. You've come a long way since then. You've seen every year since 2016, that fund balance has increased. We went from that negative 42 to over $3.7 million in fund balance at the end of June 30th, 2023. This is obviously a great accomplishment for the school and a great, excellent trend that shows that this school was financially healthy at the end of 2023. So some short-term liquidity risk ratios we like to run. Next is cash reserves. What we're looking at here is your unrestricted cash comparing to your expenditures. How long can you continue operating if you receive no more cash inflows? We look at this and we generally recommend this to be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. This number is also going up each year since 2019. Back in 2019, you were at 50 days in cash reserves. At the end of 2023, 162 days. So nearly half a year in cash reserves and well within that 3 to 6 month general recommendation for there. So you have a healthy cash reserve in place at the end of 2023 also. Next, looking at working capital. What we're doing here is comparing your current assets to your current liabilities. We generally recommend this to be 3 to 1. At the end of 2023, it was almost 6 to 1. It went down back in 2022 and 23, and that's because of the implementation of that new capital lease standard. And so that's showing kind of a liability now. But you're still well above that 3 to 1 ratio. As I said, your current assets are 5.8 times more than your current liabilities at the end of 2023. And it shows that the balance sheet is healthy for your school. And finally, the functional expense breakdown. This is how the school spent its money during 2023. There's several categories that are required to be reported by state standards. The blue is the most important one here. That's instructional services. That's what you spend instructing students. For 2023, it was 78%. System-wide support services or overhead was 11%. Capital outlay was 1%, and debt service was 10%. Now, the chart of accounts that you're required to use for state reporting kind of limits or restricts how you can actually break this down. Some of those accounts are actually can be considered instructional, but because of the way they're set up, are system-wide support services. And because of that, we see a lot of schools or charter schools that we work with throughout the state usually maintain instructional allocation of anywhere from 55 to 65%. You are well above the average of the schools we work with. So that's an outstanding number to be proud of, because if anybody looks at how you spend your money, for every dollar you spend, 78 cents is going toward instruction, while most schools are well below that. So you probably, of all the schools we work with, probably in the top 5 on that percentage. So that's an outstanding number to be advertised by the school. Kind of just summarize once again, clean audit opinion, no findings this year. And everything financially shows the school is very healthy, trending in the right direction, and has come a long way since, back to 2015 and 2016. But with that, I'll be glad to take any questions you may have on the audit procedures, the results of the audit, or the numbers themselves.
Jay, thank you so much. Are there any questions from the board?
I don't know that it could look much better than that, right?
It looks pretty good. Okay, Jay, I don't think we have any questions, but thank you so much.
Great. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you. You too. Dr. Blackwell, was there anyone else for guest discourse?
She got dropped.
I think we may have lost her.
I think we lost her and Emily. It was maybe there was a school issue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hope not.
Well, they're the stars of the show, so we kind of need them back.
Well, while we get them back, one thing, and I was sitting here floundering because I lost my notes and couldn't pull them back up to ask my question. But, Jay was talking about our working capital, it should be like 3 to 1, and we're at 6 to 1. So my only thought or question is, are we, and this may be a silly question, but are we saving too much? You know, should we be spending some of this capital here, or, you know, that's just something that kind of, I wish I would have caught him before he left, but that was just like my only comment. Anybody have any thoughts?
Well, I don't think, Nicole, I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem in that moving forward. If we're building a new building, I think there's going to be a good chunk of that spent. It was funny you say that. I will hope that we are having them review as the year goes on to make sure that they're for us as we go along campaign, that we're going to continue with a clean audit next year, that we don't move money that we shouldn't, or have things invested and stuck in different accounts. So to make sure that audit looks as clean next year. So
Yeah.
Like the money man's up there being quiet. Jeremy might throw something in there.
No, I'm good, man. You good?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Emily and I think something happened with the school Wi-Fi because we
Yeah.
both lost it. I'm using my hotspot right now, Brad. I'm not sure if you can.
I'm actually looking at it right now because I figured it was something. It says everything is up and working, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, it just all stopped. So anyway, I'm sorry I missed the end of that. That was
Okay.
That was a really lovely presentation.
And I believe a copy of that is in the folder.
It is. The complete audit and his presentation are both in the folder.
Do we have
I was
any?
gonna let Emily go next, but I think we're gonna have to. Oh,
She's up.
there she is.
I'm back. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Welcome
Is it
back.
my turn?
Okay, so I don't know either. That was a little crazy.
What did I miss?
Well, we missed saying goodbye to Jay, but
Oh, bye, Jay.
but I think we're good otherwise. So the next guest is Miss Emily Harris. I'm going to let her share with you an update about the 2023 annual giving campaign. So Emily, it's all yours.
Yay, I'm so glad I get to follow Jay, who had nothing but good news, and Cindy, who had nothing but good news. I have nothing but good, exciting news about a wild, successful fundraising year in 2023, and exciting news about big things in 2024. Nothing but good news. Good news on good news. So I'll give you a little recap of 2023. Had 29 members join the Annual Giving Society, which means they gave $1,000 or more. 18 of those are second-year members, which is great. We raised over $64,000 in direct giving, which is twice the amount we raised in 2022. We raised right at $30,000 in 2022, and more than $10,000 over our 2023 goal. We set out to raise $50,000, and as of today, we're a little over $64,000. So good time, good news. In 2024, we also have big, exciting things happening. As you all know, we're going to take on a building project and a big capital campaign. So more things to come about that later. But in 2024, the development office will focus on major donors and the capital campaign, and our giving year dates have also changed. So in the past, we have gone calendar year for tax purposes. And in 2024, our giving year will start following the school calendar. So from July 1 to June 30th will be the giving year from now on. I'm also very excited to say that all board members have either given a donation or a pledge. And I thank you all so much. I can't tell you how beneficial board investment, board buy-in, board participation, how important that is for the success of the philanthropy program. And I really thank you. Thank you all. In the same vein, I look forward to you all being even more involved in the philanthropy program. There is a conference coming up in mid-March that the resource development consultant that News Charter hired named CapDev is having. It's a weekend conference. Nicole and I went to one a few years ago. I've been to another one, but they're very educational, very informative, very fun, very inspirational. So if any of you are looking to become more involved or learn more about the philanthropy program, the fundraising process, I would love to share the information about the conference with you. I think I'm going. No. Can you hear me?
Emily, there's a little bit of a lag, but I think we heard most of it. Just want to make sure that we heard you correctly. So 2023, you raised over 64,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's still a little bit of a lag, Emily.
I think she's frozen, actually.
She is. Oh, well.
Nicole, in my superintendent report, I've linked her report,
Okay.
and all those numbers are there. Oh, she's back.
Emily, you're muted. Emily, you're muted.
Is Emily back?
She
Emily,
is.
you're muted.
She's muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes.
I'm sorry. The internet just keeps kicking me off. It keeps saying you're offline. I'm not offline. I'm here. Okay, sorry. Where was I? Did you get that all board members have pledged or donated?
Yes.
Awesome. And I'm so excited about it. And thank you all very much. Did you get that you're invited to a CapDev conference in March? If anybody is interested in the CapDev conference in March, you know. And then the last thing I want to talk about is impact. That's the fun stuff. That's the important part. That's what we're raising money for, how we're helping our school and our kids. Impact. So a few of the things that came from specific donations, restricted funds. So donors gave and said, this is what I want my money to go for. So we bought lots of athletic needs. One donor specifically wanted to buy gas for the bus. Absolutely. We would love to fill the gas tank on your dollar. Thank you so much. Another donor wanted to buy new athletic uniforms. We did that. A donor wanted to host a back to school staff gathering at Low and Slow. That was so fun. That was wonderful. School supplies for students in need and staff office supplies. Somebody saw a need for things in the office for staff and donated those. And so we're very grateful for all our donors, for our donors who give with specifics, and for our donors who give to the general fund. We're so appreciative to all the people who have invested in the school and participated in the philanthropy program.
Great. Thanks, Emily. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Emily?
Maybe not question, but just thank everybody for their time as I've reached out and talked to y'all this week. And do not worry, I'm continuing to work with our board to come up with a pledge towards the building campaign. So excited to announce that at a later date once we get everything together.
Emily, thank you for everything that you're doing with the philanthropy program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Looks like it's moving in the right direction, and every year it's just getting bigger.
Yes, with your help, we have great momentum. Big things are happening.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Emily? Okay, thank you so much, Emily.
Michelle, that is all of the guest discourse.
Okay, thank you. And I guess, how about any correspondence from our authorizer?
Yes. So on December 11th, our charter renewal was officially presented. And I'm very proud to share that out of the cohort for 2024, only 3 schools were recommended for a 10-year renewal, and we were one of those 3. So the information has been shared. They have reviewed all of the information that we had to provide to them, including our audit that Jay just shared with you all. And we are expecting a vote in February or March. Once that vote happens with the state board, we will be completely done with this process for 10 years. So very exciting news.
That is exciting news. Any questions for Dr. Blackwell?
So who has to vote to make it final?
The State Board of Education.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other communication from our authorizer?
No.
Okay, moving on now to our superintendent's report.
All right.
You're still on the hot seat.
I know, just taking all your time. So first of all, I want to thank you all for the very kind and generous donation of coffees and snacks and treats for the staff that were delivered in January. We always are so grateful for the treats that you all give to us. And I just wanted to formally recognize your efforts in that and thank you all very much. It's much, much appreciated. Also, just wanted to let you know that I had the great pleasure of being asked to present at the Department of Public Instruction's Charter School Ready to Open program. It's a 7-month program that they have offered to all charter schools that are preparing to open in August of 2024. And I was invited to present to those new board members and school leaders presentation on how to lead goal-oriented, effective board meetings. And I just was so honored that they reached out to me to ask me to do that. And I had the great privilege of doing that on December the 13th. And with much success, they have requested that I return in June and share a similar presentation. So I'm very, very excited to share that with you all. And then also last week, I had the great privilege of serving on a panel for the Leadership Johnston program that is hosted by the Triangle East Chamber of Commerce. I sat on that panel last Thursday. And if you recall, I also had the great privilege of being asked to do that back in May as well. So just letting you know, I'm doing my part to get Noose's name out there and in a good way. So wanted to just let you all know that. I have 2 items for you all this evening. First is the 24-25 operational calendar. And then the second is just a very brief lottery update that we had last week. So I'm really hoping that my internet doesn't fall. But can you all see that?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So every January, I bring you the next school year's calendar and I share it with you all. I tell you a little bit about any differences in this calendar versus the current calendar that we have. And so this is the current draft of the 24-25 school year. It is very similar to what we have this year. And I'll show you, you can just kind of see the overview of it here with the color-coded legend. And then the number of days are broken out beside it. I'm going to show you a slide that better shows that though. So this current school year in Q1, we have 41 days. In Q2, we have 40. In Q1 next year, we'll have 40. Q2 this year is 39. Q2 next year is 40. Q3 is 43. Q3 next year is 40. And then Q4 is 43. Q4 is 44. So there's a slight difference of 166 instructional days this year and 164 instructional days next year. And essentially what this means is that per DPI's requirement, we are required to offer at least 1,025 instructional hours. And at 164 days times the number of hours in our day, we exceed that. by 41 hours, which equates to a little over 6 additional school days beyond that requirement. So I'll go back to this calendar and just show you there is very little difference. We did add in 2 more work days. This year we found that we needed just a little bit more time with the staff throughout each quarter, so we were able to make that adjustment. And beyond that, the important note is just there's only a difference of 2 days in this calendar versus the calendar that we currently have. So I will answer any questions that you have. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you.
I'll make a motion to pass the calendar as presented or approve.
We have a motion to approve the 2024, 2025. This is the operational calendar, or is this, it says staff? This is just for the staff draft, or is this the operational calendar itself?
It's the actual school calendar. Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the 2024, 2025 operational school calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Jeremy, I didn't hear that.
Jeremy, did you second the motion?
No, I did.
Who said that?
Jason.
Jason.
Come on now. I've got a pretty distinctive voice, y'all.
Well, Jason, we both have no hair, so we're in the same spot.
No, it sounded. It didn't sound like you.
I've been sick. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I will call a roll call vote. Nicole?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Benji?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. Motion carries, and the 2024-25 school operational calendar has passed.
Thank you. There is one more thing that I need you all, I need approval on. When I came on board in May 2020 and we were working on calendars, we were operating under the 1,025 instructional hour option. The other option is 180 school days. So there's really nowhere in writing from a board level that is the operational approach. And so I need it documented that is the approach that we use. It's a formality that just simply says we approve of the 1,025 instructional hour calendar. I just need it documented. I don't know how to explain that any differently or any better.
Is it in the charter agreement, Charter Blackwell?
It's not. It's not in the charter agreement, and I need to get it in there.
And DPI requires how many days versus hours?
180 days or 1,025 hours.
And Melissa,
Your preference is to stay with the hours?
Yes. It's been that way, I think, for a very long time. Definitely since I got here. This is my 4th calendar. Curtis is nodding. It's just not documented anywhere that's the approach.
and
It's what's
sorry, Melissa. And that's something that the board needs to approve. That's not an administrative decision. It's a board level decision. So you just need us to make a motion and vote
yes.
and have that documented in the minutes.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll make a motion to state that the News Charter School Board chooses to use the 1,025 hour approach for the annual school calendar.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second that News Charter School will use the instructional hours as opposed to instructional days. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call a vote. Nicole?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Benji?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you. Finally, we had our lottery last week. We are very excited to open up our school for new families, recognizing that it's January and a lot of things can happen between now and August. I just wanted to give you a couple of numbers. We had fewer seats available in this lottery than we did last year. Last year, we had 236 seats available. This year, we had 165. So we're very pleased with that. I'm actually currently very pleased that as of last week, we did not have any ninth grade openings. Well, I prefaced it by saying it's January, got a long ways till August, but right now we do not have any openings in ninth grade. And last year at this time we had 12. So that is a big statement for Noose, considering that was a tremendous turnover space from 8th to 9th grade. And very excited to share that with you. The applications decreased. We did not have as many this year as we had last year at the time of the lottery, but since the lottery, we have received over 30 more applications, which is now putting us at where we were last year. And we continue to evaluate how we market, how we are publicizing. And in the finance meeting a couple of weeks ago, Jason provided some really helpful information, which we are pursuing and looking at. But we are being very open about we are still taking applications. There will still be opportunities for students to enroll. And we're hopeful that people will continue to apply with that understanding. But just a few numbers for you. Last year, we had an open enrollment in kindergarten of 78 students after we placed the siblings. This year, we had 65. Last year in first grade, we had 27 openings. This year, we had 2. In second grade, we had 5 last year. We had 0 this year. In third grade, we had 3 openings last year. We have 12 this year. And that's because we added that 4th, second grade class. So we've got some more space to fill some seats in there. And that group is just moving up. So 4th grade, we had 11 last year. We had 6 this year. In 5th grade, we had 5 last year. This year, we had 9. Nicole, I'll give you all these numbers.
You're fine. Thank you.
In 6th grade, we had 5 openings last year. We had 8 this year. In 7th grade, we had 10 openings. This year, we had 0. In 8th grade, we had 15 openings, and this year we had 7. In 9th grade, again, we had 12. This year, we have none. And then in 10th grade, we had 17 last year. We had 7 this year. So the number of open seats has decreased. And I'm hopeful that as we continue to go along with offering our tours, continuing to push social media ads and marketing ads on different websites, that we'll continue to see more applications coming in, and we'll be able to fill as many seats as possible by the time the first day of school starts.
And I think is this the first year that we have done our lottery this early?
It's the second.
Second year, okay.
It's the second year. Mm-hmm.
And just to let folks know who don't fully understand the process, our current students commit to the next academic year prior to the lottery,
Mm-hmm.
and then we do the lottery. So parents who are on a wait list won't be notified until potentially a current student makes other plans, correct?
That's right. As soon as we receive a withdrawal for a student, we immediately go to the lottery and get in touch with the family that's at the top of that wait list. I'm sorry, is that, do I have any more questions? Okay. The last thing I want to mention is I want to recognize the Triple S community, the significant loss that they have sustained this week with 4 students early yesterday morning losing their lives in a car accident. The impact on our community is tremendous. And I want to just let you all know that tomorrow night they are hosting a vigil at 6 o'clock at the football field. They've invited anybody who just would like to be there to attend. And we've been in contact with the counselors, and they said that they have been asking for gift cards to equally distribute among the 4 families. So if you feel so inclined to contribute to that effort, they can just be dropped off in the main office. But I just wanted to extend publicly my heartfelt sympathy on behalf of News Charter School and our staff and our students to the Triple S community, their staff, their students, and just recognize that at the end of the day, we're all in this together as educators in Johnston County, and we will be keeping them in our hearts and our minds as we all try to make sense of this, and we will support them as best we know how. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Blackwell. Financial reports.
Oh, that's me.
Still in the hot seat.
I'm almost done. In the folder are the November and December reports. I'm just going to share with you the December one because that's the most current. But the good news is that we are currently sitting now at a surplus. In November, we were sitting at a little bit of a deficit, but the local funds are continuing to come in. So our current surplus is a little over $105,000. Our total budgeted local revenue is a little over $1.7 million. And of that, we have received about $528,000. We still are set to receive a little over $1.2 million in local funds by the end of this year. And so in our account balances for our operations contingency and retirement escrow, we are a little over $3.3 million. Any questions? Okay, now I think I'm done.
Okay, moving on to our standing committee reports. Governance Committee.
The governance committee did not meet.
Financial Oversight.
Yeah, financial oversight met, talked about gym floor refinishing, getting quotes for that. Talked about continued to talk about the building campaign, finances around that, and also talked about in that surplus money that we've got. We talked about investment options for that instead of it sitting in non-interest bearing accounts, being a little bit more strategic on making sure that that's money's invested properly. We're exploring several different options on that. Jeremy, Dr. Blackwell, am I missing anything? What else did I forget?
You hit it on the head, bud.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Risk Management Committee.
Risk Management Committee did not meet.
Okay. Ad hoc committees, facilities. Do we have any updates from facilities?
I have a new facility update. We have continued to meet and continue to refine the plans and the processes. We are in the process right now of reviewing the DPI response. If you're not aware, anytime a school attempts to build a new building, those plans have to be approved through DPI. Our architect sent that data over to them about 2 weeks ago. We got a response just this morning. So we're beginning to work through that. We're very excited because it doesn't seem like there's much that they're asking of us in terms of revisions. We're very thankful for that. And we are continuing to move along. I'm really hopeful that there'll be a groundbreaking when it gets a little warmer and the ground's maybe not as frozen.
Thank you. And Strategic Planning Committee.
We did not meet.
Okay. I don't believe we have any unfinished business. I don't believe we have any new business. There's no board development and self-assessment this evening, but we do need to go into closed session for personnel discussion pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A6. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So move.
Motion and a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call a vote. Nicole?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Benji?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. I will see everyone in closed session.